Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everyone. It's me Muhammad Wardan, and in this video I am going to present you our mini project presentation. Our project title is Patient Appointment System. My group members are Uthman Al Hadiri, Imad Al Hadiri, Aljo, Ilner, Osi Amaka, and it's me Muhammad Wardan. What is the problem statement? The process of visiting a hospital can sometimes be burdensome, as statistically about 139 million people visit hospitals daily. This usually causes strain on hospital workers, such as doctors and nurses, and leads to the patient waiting for long hours before their turn, and in some cases being asked to return to the next day. The manual process makes it difficult to track the history of the patient and the appointments they had. In addition, hospitals need proof for the healthcare ministry to verify that a patient has visited the specific hospital. Therefore, the patient appointment system, which is PAS, will be developed to ease the processes and give both hospitals and patient the opportunity to experience a convenient schedule. The objectives of this project is to provide an easy and efficient way to cater the needs of the patient. The efficiently to efficiently sort the data entries in order to give these staff a good foresight. To develop a program that updates, deletes, and makes changes to the data entries efficiently. To develop a system that allows doctors to update their schedule of availability for better appointment. Also, to develop a system that allows the user to efficiently search for the data. Scope. The scope of this project is to implement certain operations, and they are file operation, input and output, authentication and verification, searching and sorting, linked list, and the operations such as add, delete, and search, updating and deleting entries, also class implementation and relationship, and finally queue concept and its applications. The use case diagram consists of three main actors: the doctor, patient, receptionist. The patient and doctor each have 4 use cases, whereas the receptionist has 10 use cases. The description of the actors. Let's start with the patient. The patient consists of the users who book appointment at the hospital to see the doctors for the medical checkups. The patient users make appointments, view available doctors, and book appointments. They also search for specific doctors if need to be. The actor, who is the doctors consist of users who cater the health of the patients. The doctor each have schedule and working days as which patients are able to book an appointment with them. The doctors are authorized to identify their availability status, update their details and schedule, and view the patient and their appointment booking made. The receptionist, as for the term receptionist, is popularly known. The receptionist is responsible for handling and managing the data records in the system and make necessary updates. The receptionist is authorized to update the patient data records and delete patient records or cancel patient appointment records where necessary. As for the relationships, the class relationships implemented in this system include inheritance, association, composition, abstraction. The class relationship, for example, inheritance, we have the class person that is inherited by the class as a doctor, patients, and receptionist. Also, this means that the members of these listed classes inherit the attributes of the person class publicly. As for the composition, the doctor class has a compositive relationship with the class schedule. The doctor has a schedule, and the class object of the schedule cannot exist if the doctor class object is destroyed. As for the association, the appointment class and the receptionist class have an associative relationship. These two classes can communicate with each other, however, they both exist independently. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to leave you with other members. Thank you.
Hello, so this is Uthman Al-Hadiri, and I'll be talking about the data structure concepts in the system. So let's start with the sorting. When we implemented sorting in our system, we chose to do insertion sort. This was because the data that we are working with is not that much big, and this technique was sufficient or was efficient to implement sorting in this system. We implemented it to sort the names of the patients in ascending order. As for the searching part in our project, we implemented searching to look for the patients and doctors in their linked lists, basically the users of our system. So based on a specific key, like an ID or the name of a doctor, first name for example, based on those keys, we will be able to find the specific user in that list. In our system, we used linked lists to store the data of the patients, the doctors, and the receptionists. So those lists have several functions, such as empty function, find node, insert node, find by first name, search for the doctor, and delete node as well. So, for example, isEmpty function is a Boolean function that's used to see if the list is empty or not. Uh, Also, find node was used to search for a specific node using a key such as an ID to identify the node that we are looking for. Also, insert node was used to insert a node into the list. Find by first name, we used it to search for the patient by their first names. For example, we in the parameter we search for a patient called Ali by his first name. We can see if Ali exists in our patient list or not. Also, searching for doctor information, we use the ID as the search key. So when we put the ID of the doctor, we can see if he exists in that list or not. And finally, when we want to delete a specific node, we use delete node function. So for the queue implementation, sorry for the spelling mistake here. The queue was implemented to add patients to the queue, patients who are already in the linked list, and we have their records already, so they can be added to the queue or check in to the queue. So the queue has several functions, such as is empty to check if the queue is empty. We have also the main two functions, which are enqueue and dequeue. Those functions add and delete people or patients from the queue. And finally, we have display queue function, which displays the current queue of which displays the current queue in the system. For enqueue, it adds a patient at the front if the queue is empty, and adds the patient at the rear of the queue if there are patients inside the queue. DQ deletes or removes the patients from the front of the queue when the patient checks out, so it removes them from the front of the queue. However, if the queue is empty, it cannot the receptionist cannot DQ or cannot use DQ function to delete people or delete patients from the queue, because the queue is already empty, and a message that says sorry, the queue is empty will be shown in the screen.
Good day, my name is Elino Alugi Osiamaka and I'm from the Data Structure Algorithm course in the University Technology Malaysia. The title of our project is Patient Appointment Booking System, and in the course of this video, my teammates and I are going to walk you through our project and how we execute it. We'll be talking about the algorithm and flowchart of the system. The first figure shows the algorithm of the appointment booking function. Here we have the start followed by the first input, which followed by the first output, which is the available doctor's schedule. And then after the available doctor's schedule, we have the input, which is the doctor's ID of the doctor that the patient wishes to book, followed by the decision. If the ID is valid, then it proceeds to read the details, else it displays an invalid doctor ID. The second figure shows the algorithm of the search for the doctor's name. The third figure shows the algorithm of the search for the by patient's name, and the fourth figure shows the algorithm of the search by the patient's ID. They all involve the decision symbol because there's a decision of if the patient name or patient ID is found, then there's a particular display. If it's not found, then the system displays that the patient's record was not found. This is the algorithm of the update doctor schedule and the update patient's information. And this is the algorithm of the delete record. The next is the system prototype or the output. In this phase, we have the patient interface, the patient menu option, the appointment booking menu, the search, and the doctor's list and the doctor's schedule. This is the patient menu, which has the options or choices which a patient can make. This is the appointment booking, which has the choice or the menu of which the patient, when the patient chooses to book an appointment, the patient is opted to enter the appointment ID which he chooses to book, given from the schedule ID of the doctors and the availability of the doctor's schedule. And then the patient is required to enter the patient's details and information, and after which the system confirms whether the booking was made successfully or not. And if the booking was made successfully, as seen here, the system shows the patient's booking information to the patient, more like a receipt. This is the patient's attempt to search for a particular doctor by name. All the patient needs to do is to enter the doctor's first name, and the system would show the output of that particular doctor's schedule if the doctor is booked or available. If the patient chooses to search for available doctors, the doctor's schedule. This is the complete schedule of the doctors. This shows the doctors who are available and the doctors who are booked within a certain time frame. This is the doctor's interface. We have the doctor's menu options. We have the first option is to show the list of the booking list, the list of all the appointments. And in this list, we see that there's only one patient who has booked an appointment, Eleanor, from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. So this enables the doctor to have a foresight or an overview of patients who have booked him, so he's aware and knows how to plan his day. This is also the search done by the doctors for a specific patient, which can be done either by using the patient ID or by using the patient name. In a situation where a doctor puts in a wrong patient name or patient ID, the system gives back feedback of the record not found, and also ensures that the doctor types in the correct detail of a patient. This is the doctor's option of updating the doctor's schedule. Here the doctor is allowed to change his schedule or details to show when he's free and when he's busy, to ensure that there's no mistake on the part of the doctor or on the part of the patient in the system. This is the receptionist interface. This is the receptionist menu options, and this is the patient list. The delete this shows that if a receptionist chooses to delete a patient record for any reason, this is possible by putting in the patient's ID, and then if the ID is correct, then the record would be successfully deleted. This shows the list of all the patients and all their details to the receptionist. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Imad Al-Hadari, and I will go through the live demo of our system. This is our system main interface. We have three different users, which are patient, doctor, receptionist. So if we go as a patient, patient can do 4 different functions, which are make appointment, display doctor schedule, search doctor name, and search available doctor. So if we choose to make an appointment, we are giving a list of available or booked schedule. So we are required to get the schedule ID and then booked it. So we are required to enter our information: first name, last name, Imad, Messi, Imad, Ali, then Amir, date of birth, and phone number. So as you can see, the appointment was booked. So if we go to doctor's schedule, this is the appointment that we were trying to book, and we booked it. The third functionality is to search doctor name. So we enter the doctor name, for example, Messi, and we get his information. While the fourth functionality is to search available doctor. So if we press 4, we will get only the current available doctor, who has a free time. We go to the main interface. We log in as a doctor. So the doctor can do 4 different functionality as well, which are display all patient appointments. Press 1. Right. Currently we only have 1 appointment. Search patient name. The second functionality is to search patient name. Press 2. We enter the patient first name, for example, Imad. We got the information. Patient name, gender, date of birth, and phone number. The fourth is to update the doctor's schedule. So we assume that we have logged in as Messi, so we are required to enter our first name, Messi. Free day is Friday. Time is 10. 12 until 12 p.m. Yeah. Here's the last added schedule. Schedule ID, day, start time, and time and status is available. We go to the return to the main interface. We log in as receptionist. Receptionist can do lots of things. As such, first, the receptionist can display all patient list, all patients available in the database. So, if we press 1, we get the patient and the patient list. The second functionality is display doctor list. So press 2. We get all the available doctors in the clinic or the hospital whatsoever, their information, name, gender, date of birth, and phone number. The third functionality is to search doctor name. We press 3. For example, write Bruno. We got his record. The fourth is to search available doctor. So if we press 4, currently we only have 1 available doctor. Fifth is to sort patient list by first name. So if you press 5, first we are getting the patient list before sorting. After the sorting in the ascending order, patient records were sorted. So here, as you can see, Aaron was the third in the first list, became the first because the name starts with A, and then the rest will be sorted accordingly. The sixth functionality is to update patient phone number. So first we are required to enter the patient ID. For example, we choose the first patient, enter ID, then change phone number to 555. the record is updated successfully. As you can see here, phone number became 5555. The second functionality is to delete patient records. So if we are required to enter the patient ID as well. So if we choose the second patient and we enter this ID, the patient was deleted automatically. Yeah, it's not in the list anymore. The eighth functionality was implemented using queue, which is patient check-in. So we are required to enter the patient name, for example, Imad. So if the record is available, we will get its information, and the patient information will be added to the queue. If we decide to add another patient to the queue, we enter, for example, Uthman. Yep. The current queue contains two different patients. At the top of the queue, there's Imad, and the last of the queue, there's Uthman. So if one of the patients decided to check out, so press 9, and the first patient in the queue was removed, whereas Imad and Uthman remained in the queue. Lastly, we return to the main interface and press 4 to exit. Yep, that's all, and thank you.